Today, I would like to tell you something interesting that happened to me many years ago. It's a real-life story that proves that man is where he is in imagination. When you have trained your mind to function at an altered deep state, you will manifest very easily and frequently. For example, this is what happened to me in 2009, and it demonstrates how, with practice, we can train our mind to manifest accurately and effortlessly. I decided to write my first book in 2009. I moved back to Sydney for a few months to start writing my book, Creating Your Personal Reality. And for the first 2 weeks, I had to find a temporary place to rent. I found an apartment I could rent for 2 weeks, as I was unsure how long I would remain in Sydney. This apartment was located in the Haymarket area of Sydney City. So the unit I rented was on the 14th floor. Every morning I would look out of my window, which had a clear view of Pitt Street. Behind my apartment, I noticed one of the apartment buildings nearby had very large balconies right above the car park levels. The rest of the building above was set back from the street and formed a tall residential tower. I recognized this building to be the one my friend Clement used to tell me about. He used to tell me that his father used to own a unit in this apartment and that he used to live here during his university days. He had told me before that the apartment had a huge balcony. The huge balcony was of no use to him. Instead, he said the balcony became a place where residents in the tower above would throw cigarette butts, tissue paper, and empty beer cans from above, and he had to clean the balcony regularly. He also told me one day a bat flew into his living room and he had to chase it out with a broom through the main window. So while recalling the stories that Clement told me about this building, I put myself in my mind in that apartment as if I was him recalling the story instead. I found his many stories interesting and quite funny. So this is a photo I took from my rental apartment. One day, I met up with Clement during lunchtime and I showed him this picture that I took from my bedroom window, and he confirmed to me one of them used to be his apartment. So at the end of my 2 weeks lease in this rental apartment, I had to move. I found an ad to rent a unit in the city. The address given to me was the Miramar, and the Miramar apartment is the building where Clement used to live. So I told the landlord I was only looking to rent for about 1 month, and she reluctantly agreed, saying she had a unit that was temporarily vacant and could let me stay for a couple of weeks. The apartment unit was on the 35th floor of the Miramar. So I moved into the 35th floor of the Miramar, but within 2 days, my landlord told me to move downstairs into another unit that she had on level 8. She told me this unit was a lot quieter and more spacious than the one on the 35th floor. I agreed and I moved down to level 8 without even inspecting the apartment. And that night, I moved in late at night and quickly went to bed. The next morning, as I awoke, I was laying in bed and I saw a balcony outside my window. My inner voice said, "Go on, check out the balcony." So I walked to the window at the end of the bedroom, and the window looked out into a huge balcony. So I was on MSN later that afternoon, and I told Clement via MSN that I was in one of the 5 units with huge balconies in the same building he used to own. He replied, "You could be in my unit. If the living room has a feature color wall that is brown in color, it is mine. I painted that myself years ago before I moved out." I quickly went out the bedroom into the living room, and sure enough, a brown feature wall to one side of the living room. I took a photo of the brown feature wall in the living room and sent it to Clement. We were both shocked that I was actually staying in his unit. I had put myself physically in Clement's old apartment unit after I kept thinking about it in my mind 2 weeks before. Clement came immediately after work that evening to revisit his old unit, reminiscing about the good old days. He even found some old furniture that he left behind more than 10 years ago. He also found an old storage chest that he had left behind, and he bought it back from my landlord because of its sentimental value to him. So this is how manifesting and law of attraction works. You can, with training, put yourself where you want to be by thinking of it. To be frank, I didn't even know how Clement's apartment looked like before this. When he was telling me those stories about his old apartment, I just put myself in an apartment unit in my mind, telling myself that I was in Clement's apartment. If you can imagine that you're somewhere, the circumstances will then be orchestrated to take you there. Events will be synchronized to lead you there. So indeed, man is where he is in his imagination. You exist where you are in your imagination. If you're interested to learn the many manifesting techniques I use, you will find them in detail in my ebook, Secret Techniques of Manifesting and Creating with Imagination. In my books, I write about mental techniques and mental processes and strategies that produce results and can be used in your everyday life to produce the results you want. You can find a link to my Mind is Life website below this video. So that's it for today's video. Please comment, like and subscribe, and remember to turn on the notification button to be notified of new videos.